Hello, how you guys doing? It's Financial Freedom Fridays. Gus Tucker. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing good? All right, that's what we like to hear. So here on Financial Freedom Fridays, we're going to cover the topics and the subjects that are most on your mind, things that are going to prepare you and set you up to be financially independent. So with that, we're going to get right into it. I've got some things I want to share with you. Some things you heard before, some things that'll be new. Our goal is to help people of color and all people to thrive financially. Because I tell you what, it's one thing to live in a country of the free, but if you're not financially free and you don't have options financially, man, it's tough to really enjoy the land of the free and the home of the brave. You know what I'm saying? So every month is Black History Month. So we're making history every month. So you remember that. Every month is Black History Month, and Black people are making history on a daily basis, aren't we? Yes, we are. Now, what you see is from where you sit. Perspective makes all the difference. Take stock of where you sit, so to speak. In other words, how do you see yourself in this life? How do you see yourself? Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? What do I mean by that? Thermostats set the temperature in every room they go in. Thermometers, they just take the temperature the way it is, but they don't change it. I'm encouraging you to be a thermostat, that based on your attitude, your perspective, your perceptions, that you set the tone for every room that you're in. Because when you sit from that perspective of setting the tone, you're less likely to end up being a victim and much more likely to be a victor. Okay? So be a thermostat, not a thermometer. Also, understand, God has put you on this planet for a purpose, for you to be fruitful. That's who you are, fruitful. How do fruits multiply? They take what's inside them, the seed that's inside them, they plant that in the earth, their environment, and it grows up and multiplies. Okay? Let's say you have an apple, you can cut that apple and count the seeds in the apple. But once you take those seeds and you put them in the ground, you can't count the number of apples in that seed. And that's how we're called to grow and multiply. Your mandate as a person on this earth is to be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth. Fill the earth with what? The influence of God, and subdue it, to bring it under the rule of God's principles, of God's kingdom. Okay? And once you are that person, you're being that person, and you're doing the things you need to do, you will have the things you need to have. Okay? Because, and we're going to talk about this in the future, within your purpose, the reason you were called and put here on the earth is also your provision. The reason you were put here, if you're here on the planet, God has a purpose for you. And in that purpose, it's also your provision. What do I mean? Everything you need to live life. Financially, emotionally, spiritually, in every kind of way you can think. That purpose has that provision in it. One of our goals here is to help you to deal with the financial piece of that provision, for you to be a steward. Okay? And here, there are 4 quadrants. There are 4 ways that people basically make money. Okay? And financial literacy starts with the making of money. Doesn't start with the managing of it. It starts with the making of it. Have you chosen how you make money, or did somebody choose for you? There's 4 ways to make money. One is as an employee, where you trade hours for dollars. You do a job, and that job has a rating on it, or a scale that they're willing to pay to do that job. It's not what you're worth, it's what the job is worth. And you get paid hourly or salary, I call it salary. You get paid hour or salary, and you make a certain amount of money. In order to make more money, you have to do jobs that have more and more skill, where you manage either more people or more money or more assets for the company, and typically you make more money when you do that. Then there's the self-employed person that has a certain set of skills that they can apply themselves, and they basically are their job. So whatever it is that they do, they get paid a certain amount of money to do it. The limitation with that is you can only charge so much for any service, and you yourself can only do so much of that service. Then there's the business owner. The business owner has two things the self-employed person doesn't have. One is they have a team of people that work with them, and they have a system that those team of people are executing, separate and apart from the business owner. In other words, these folks can execute that system separate and apart from the business owner being there, which creates leverage for the business owner. That's why they can make more money. Jeff Bezos doesn't have a job. He does in a sense, but he's got a system and a team. Does that make sense? The Amazon system and the Amazon team creates his wealth and his income. So it's not just dependent on what he does. Then you have investors. Investors evaluate systems and teams, and they invest in them. Okay? You got that? All right. So how are you going to make money this year? 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. The right side of this quadrant, the business owner and investor side, are where people make the most money. Most $100,000 earners in the U.S. are in commission sales, some kind of 1099 business ownership. And I want you to understand this. Everybody's in sales. Leadership equals influence equals sales. And I got one more S in leadership than I needed. So leadership equals influence equals sales. In leadership, you're wanting to influence people to take certain actions, right? In sales, it's the same thing. You're influencing people to make decisions that are best for them. And leadership is the same thing. So what's your plan for increasing your cash flow this year? What's your plan for creating passive and residual income this year? What's your plan? Okay. We talked about this, your financial security number. We talked about how old is the average person when they're behind financially. And we talked about this before birth. And we're going to talk about one of the concepts, compound interest, and how if at 65 you wanted to have $1.5 million, so you could get a monthly income of about $6,000. Why is that? Because you live on about 4% of that. So you live on 4%, right? Because if your money's making about 8% and you've got inflation of 3-4% and you're living on 4%, you're doing that so that you don't begin to eat into too much of your money and you're starting to spend down your money. Okay? So that's why we're only using 4% of it. So if you need $1.5 million by 65, and we're going to talk about the rule of 72. The rule of 72 says if you take a certain interest rate divided into 72, tells you how many years your money will double. We're using an 8% rate here. And when you back this down, you're minus 7 years old, you need to have $6,000 saved. So 7 years before you're born, you need to have saved $6,000. Because when you're 2 years old, you need $12,000. So when you go to baby showers and stuff, give those babies money. Don't be buying them diapers and toys and clothes, man. Send those parents some hard cash. They need $12,000 by the time that kid is 2 years old to be on track financially to retire. Think about that. Every 2-year-old needs $12,000 set aside for them to be on track financially. That's something to think about. So we use a tool called a financial discovery form, and that financial discovery form covers 8 financial breakthroughs that you have to have. You have to have. They're like breathing. They have to happen They have to be planned for in order to create and hit your financial targets. So you need to get that financial discovery done, either here or somewhere. But you're gonna have to deal with these 8 things. Okay. What's the purpose of financial discovery? Develop a plan that organizes. Are your finances organized? Do you know what money's coming in and where it's going out? Is it organized? Do you have a plan to be financially independent and debt-free? When I say debt-free, consumer debt-free, you may have debt for your business because your business is an asset, but consumer debt-free. And financial independence means that at some time in the future, you can not work and the money will still come in to fund your lifestyle. Okay, that means your investments, your real estate, your businesses, any intellectual property you have, the money coming from that to be greater than your monthly expenses. That's the goal of your financial discovery, of looking and seeing where you're at in the process right now and setting you up to win financially. How many people would want to sign up for that program? So every family's in one of these 3 spots. We talked about it. You either have a positive, 0, or negative margin. Your income is either greater, equal to, or less than your expenses. And based on where you're at, you're creating a certain amount of margin. That margin is the money your dreams are made of. Do you have enough margin to make your dreams happen? Do you have enough margin to make your dreams happen? Have you really analyzed and looked at it? That's also a part of your financial discovery. Okay? To see what kind of margin you have, and are you prepared really to make your dreams happen? Oh yeah, it's a wake-up call, y'all. So what we're going to talk about today, somewhat briefly, is the 3 rules of money. There are a lot of rules, but these are 3 major rules of money that you have to master. Did I say master? That you have to master to create the lifestyle you want financially. Check this out. A few days ago, they had this thing called the NFL draft. And they drafted 7 rounds of players, 32 players in each round. So that's 224 players. 224. In Division I football, there's over 100 football teams. It's about 100 players per team. That's 9,000 college football players. And how many do they draft? 224. Now, they also have some that get picked up by teams that are called free agents, and they can pick and choose their team. But that's not another 224 people. So it's less than 300-400 people out of 9,000. What percentage is that? Well, 3% of 9,000 would be 270. So it's about 3-4% of all the college athletes, which is already a very narrow percent of all the high school athletes. Okay? So how do they get to be pros? It's called mastery. Mastery of a certain set of skills, of not every position on the field, just typically one. They master one position on the field out of all the other people who can do that, and that creates the opportunity to be a pro. Listen, you want to make 6 and 7 and 8 figures. You want to create financial independence. That's called being a pro. And that's one of the reasons why we're the Financial Pro Network. Financial Pro Network. To help you become a professional at managing your money. You need to have mastery and be skilled at it. To be skilled at it, you need to know these 3 rules of money. And you need to master them and make them work for you. Okay? Ready? 3 rules of money. What's rule number 1? Compound interest. How many people do you know that are living off the interest of their money? Yeah, silence. Think about that. The rule of 72 says 72 divided by an interest rate equals the time it takes for your money to double. Okay? It's just a mental math shortcut for how long it takes for your money to double. 72 divided by an interest rate equals the time it takes for your money to double. You got it? You with me? So 1%, it takes 72 years to double. Now, check this out. The higher the interest rate, the fewer years it takes for your money to double. Why is that important? How old are you right now? How old are you right now? When is it you'd like to quote unquote retire? And this will be another training for another day, but I'm going to mention this real quickly. There's only 4 places your money can come from when you retire. The 5th one is marry somebody rich. Okay, so that's number 5. Okay, that's number 5. But the other 4 places are you're going to work, and if you're retired, why are you still working for money? Now you can still be doing work, but you're not working for money. So you can work for money. 2, you can have investments, some sort of investment into some kind of either currency or some kind of investment that pays you an interest or a gain on that investment. Second thing is real estate. So you can work, investments, real estate. You can have some sort of real estate holdings of some form or fashion that pays you money. The 4th thing is a business of some sort. And within that business, we'll lump intellectual property. Because if your business is developing ideas and patents and it's intellectual property is just your business. So it's your business. So you can work, have investments, have real estate, okay, or some sort of business that pays you, that you don't have to do it every day. You got a team that'll do it. So the issue is, if those are the 4 things that you're going to use to create this retirement income, what's your plan for developing those 4 things? So by the time you want to retire, you've got it in place. The reason we want to know the rule of 72 is because of the interest rate that you're getting on your investment. It tells you how much money you have to double by what time frame to hit your goals. That makes sense? The higher the interest rate, the fewer years it takes for it to double. Okay, let's see if we can get this to go. No, it's not going to do it. So this is a build slide, and basically 1 year is 1% is 72 years. 3% is 24 years. You see, because 3 in the 72 is 24. 6, how many years is that? 6% return on your money doubles in 12 years. 9% doubles in 8 years. 12% doubles in 6 years. So the portfolio you have, the goal you have, what's the interest rate target you're shooting for? Is it higher than that? Lower than that? What's your interest rate target? That tells you how long you have to keep your money in that investment for it to double. Does that make sense? Okay. Bank accounts. Now, bank accounts have changed. This slide was done a little while ago, a couple of years ago. But nowadays, I've got a high yield interest banking account. It's in the 4 or 5% range. So that's where savings accounts are nowadays. So if it's at 5%, how many years does it take for it to double? 14 years. But in America right now, there's over $10 trillion sitting at savings accounts. So if savings accounts, which have very little risk, are getting 5%, there must be higher rates of interest in other places. So where do you have your money? What I always tell people, don't put your money in the bank. Put your money where the bank puts their money. Do you know where the bank puts their money? It's another training for another day. But don't put your money in the bank. Put your money where the bank puts their money. You might want to research that a little bit. What's the bank doing with their money? And when it said the bank interest rate was 0.09%, man, how long does that take for it to double? 800 years for your money to double. So be careful where you put your money, guys. You want to get the best return you can. At the same time, you don't want to lose money. We'll talk about that in a second. So how are we saving today? Well, you can look at our savings trend over time. Not that great. Where we want to be, if you save 10% of your money, you're going to be poor. 20%, you're going to be okay. 30%, you're going to be wealthy. What percentage of your income are you saving right now? Do you know? Why don't you check out your bank statements, see how you're doing, and use this as a guideline. 10% poor, 20% okay, 30% wealthy. Okay? Now, don't trick yourself either. It's of the gross, guys, not the net, the gross amount. Okay? All right. Small changes, big money. What if you can make small changes in your spending habits and start saving $300 a month? $300 a month at 8% in 7 years is about $500,000. $600 a month and 8% in 30 years is $900,000. Okay. Gus, I don't have 30 years to be waiting around to grow your money. Well, that being the case, then what you need to have are plans to leverage your expertise to create money faster. The fastest way to create money is in your own business. So this is not saying what your income number is. This is what your investments are doing. Because what you want to do is give your money a job. And this is what your money's job is: to make more money. Okay? That's what your money's job is to make you more money. That's what this is about. What are you willing to do to be able to save more money so your money can make money? Poor people see money as something to pay their bills with. Middle class people see money as a way to get credit so they can finance nice things and look wealthy. Wealthy people want their money to make money. You understand what I'm saying? What small changes can you begin to make to begin to put money away at numbers that look like 8% or better? Okay? Small changes, big money. Rule number 2, options for your money. Where are you going to put it? There's 3 basic strategies for putting your money into a situation to grow. One are called fixed accounts. You know, that high interest savings account I have that's around 4.5%, 5%. That's a fixed number. So you put the money in there, you leave it there, you know what it's going to do. It's a given. Typically lower than it's available other places, but they're fixed accounts. Then there are variable accounts. Those are typically equities, meaning investments in company, or bonds. Bonds are which basically loans that are given to a company. And stocks and bonds are variable. They go up and down in the marketplace. What marketplace? The market where people are trading those securities in an effort to grow their money. It's art and science to do that. Variable. There are no safety nets for you. So all the money you put in, you could lose, but it's up to you to manage it. And then there are things called indexed accounts. And you see they have some padlocks on them. And the reason they have padlocks on them is this. Make this a little bigger. They have padlocks because once you hit these this high point and it starts to go down, if it goes down, it locks in your gains right there. And it stays at that level until that market comes back. So if you were in variable, you would lose. Your account would go up. Your account would go down and you'd lose that money until you went back up. But here it locks it in. So which one of these ways you think over time you'd end up with the best results? Well, we've got some analyses to show you that. But depending on how sophisticated an investor you are, what your time frames are and your strategies, you need to get a personalized look at which one of these you ought to use and how. Okay? Fixed, variable, and index. Do you understand? How much do you understand those three options? That's another area of mastery, to master those three things. Understanding fixed accounts, variable accounts, and indexed accounts. Now, the third thing is taxes. Look, your number one bill in your life is taxes. Sales taxes, income taxes, rental taxes, real estate taxes, taxes. Like in Chicago, do they have those cameras where if you speed, you get a ticket? You know what that ticket becomes? Another tax. Oh my goodness. How your money is, three ways your money is basically taxed. Tax now, tax later, tax never. Depending on the kinds of accounts that your money is in, it depends on what kind of tax bracket you're in. Okay, so take a look at this. Tax now. Savings accounts, CDs, money markets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Typically, they're taxed now, unless they're into one of these IRS tax strategies. So get this for a minute now, guys. A 401k is not an investment. A 401k is a tax law. So is a 403b and IRA. The investments are the stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs that your money is in. Those are the investments. But you can buy a stock inside of a 401k or inside of an IRA, or you could buy it not. And depending on how you bought it and in what form you bought it determines what tax treatment it's going to get. So the investment is one thing. The tax treatment is the second thing. You with me? We can talk about that more later. But so tax later, these are things where you get a tax break today, but you pay the taxes down the road. And then tax never. IRAs, cash value, cash accumulation, and life insurance policy, 529 college plans, long-term care proceeds, and insurance proceeds. Okay, tax now, later, never. Which tax bucket you want to be in? Man, you want to be in the green one. Okay, save you a lot of money. Make sense? Well, how do I get into those? Well, we can show you. Because if you're in a, check this out, you're in an indexed account that's tax never. Couple of things. One, you're not going to lose money. And two, you're not going to pay taxes. Wait a minute. How could I be in an account that's not going to lose money and I'm not going to pay taxes? That would be good to know. The seed versus the harvest. If you save $10,000 at age 29 and earn 9% return, you'd have $250,000 when you reach 65. Would you rather pay taxes on the 10 grand right now? Would you pay taxes on the $250,000 when you get it? And now you're 65 and older, and you can at least afford to be paying those taxes. And you're going to be paying tax for the rest of your life. So if you pay, let's say the tax was 20%. If you pay 20% here, it'd be what, 2 grand. You pay 20% over here. What's 20% of 250 grand? It's $50,000. What would you rather do? Pay the 2 grand up front or the $50,000 when you're 65 and getting older? Come on now. Tax now is taxable. Tax later is tax deferred. That's when you're paying on the harvest. Tax never means you pay on the seed, but you don't pay on the harvest. So which bucket would you want to be in? Consider these 3 questions. How much money can you save right now? Save and invest. That you can get really focused on saving and investing. And then why are you saving it? What's your why? What's your goal? What is the reason why you're doing it? And then where do you want to put it? It's time to put yourself first. To win financially, you have to be saving and investing money. You have to be. Okay? This is how you create your wealth. It's time to put you first and not your bills. I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my phone bill. All these people getting paid. Are you getting paid? How do you get paid? Savings and investments. Are you getting paid every week or every 2 weeks or every month, however you get paid or however money comes into your account? Are you getting paid? Look on there. Everybody else getting paid. Are you getting paid? Come on now. Let's get you paid. What are the next steps I suggest you do? Complete your financial discovery. Where are you at right now? What's your margin? Begin to put a plan together that's suitable for you. And man, share this with other people to help them get down the road as well. Here's some information. If you'd like to work with someone in the Financial Pro Network on this, man, we'd be glad to help you. If not, find a local financial professional that can help you put these things together and make these concepts work for you. Okay? So what you're going to want to do, and we'll look at your cash flow patterns, the one you have now, what you want it to be, make the changes necessary, and get you started. Okay? Hey, this is your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. We don't get a do-over, guys. Okay? So you guys take care. It's good chatting with you this week. We'll talk to you about another topic next week. Have a great one. Like, subscribe, get other people here. Take care. Bye.